Hi, my name is Simon Curran. I'm the digital editor of the Ocean Cruising Club, and I'm fascinated by things that go on in the Arctic. We came up with the idea a few weeks ago of getting together the five OCC boats that are attempting to transit the Northwest Passage this summer. They all carry Starlink, and they all have access to video conferencing. So this is the first of many, I hope, videocasts that we're going to make with OCC crews as they set out to transit the Northwest Passage. These will all be posted onto our various OCC news feeds, both Facebook, Instagram, and the website, and you're invited to join them. We'll be inviting some other Arctic celebrities along to join in the conversations in the weeks to come, so I'm hoping that this will provide a very interesting story that will develop through the coming months. So sit back and enjoy the next hour of boats as they tell us about their plans for transiting the Northwest Passage this summer.
Welcome to Gert and Melissa. You're on a boat called sailing vessel Thor. Tell me, did you build Thor yourself, Gert, or did you buy her off the shelf? I've got a feeling you had a hand in it.
Well, I was deeply involved in building it, but if I would say that I built her myself on my own, that is not true. I had a great team working with me, all very talented metal workers and welders, and this is a 65-foot boat with a strong gull boat, so there is a lot of welding to be done. You can imagine it would have taken me years, and I probably would have been tired of it before it's finished. So, yes, I've been very involved, and most of the fit out or some of the fit out I've done myself, but I had great help wherever I needed it.
Where did you build it? In Florida or?
No, in California.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
When was she launched, and how long did she take to build?
It took approximately 2 years to build, and we launched her now sort of 13 years ago.
2012.
2012, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
And she's obviously steel. I'm guessing.
No, she's not steel. She's aluminum. She is a strong gull boat. It's a French building system, extra heavy plating. So we are starting off with 16 millimeter at the bottom, and then just get a little lighter as we go to the top. And the French yard Meta, that's probably a name for you, that also built Bernard Montessier's boat and many other famous vessels. They have a patent now on this strong gull building design. And we were thinking of buying a hull, but it would have been too expensive to get the hull and have it shipped to the US, etc. So we were lucky that we could get the plans. And so we organized everything then in the US. Otherwise, it would have been well beyond our means. Shipping an unfinished hull across an ocean just costs too much money.
And of course, we modified this design significantly.
Yes.
Above the waterline.
Yes, we basically have a strong gull boat with a dashu deck design. You know the dashu combings. The boat, and we kind of sort of make one boat out of two. And I'm very impressed with Stephen Dashu's deck design, especially. But Thor is 20 meter or 65 foot. And you can imagine it makes a large foredeck. And with Stephen Dashu's ideas, this vessel is great. Even in the heaviest of weather, you cannot really stumble further than 2 or 3 feet before you have a good handhold again. So we've been in some really rough weather on this boat, and it's phenomenal. It's fantastic.
But of course, the best feature is the pilot house.
Yes.
Where we can sit above the water.
Fully heated pilot house. When you sit inside the pilot house.
I was going to ask about heating. So a heated pilot house is, well, that's just ridiculous. But
yes. No, it's not.
That's diesel heated. Is that a blown air or drip fed?
We actually have a reflex, and we have a blown air as well. But the blown air is actually, they are rather noisy, so we rather not keep it on. We have a hydraulic unit in the vessel that we have basically 3 heating systems, and we just use whatever comes in handy.
So during your passage to the Northwest Passage, do you anticipate actually changing out of your carpet slippers at any stage, or
No. No.
I refuse to answer that question.
Very good. So
Yeah.
are you going through double-handed, or have you got crew going with you? Or
No,
We have-
it's just
We
it's,
have 4. There are 4 of us.
yes,
Gerd, myself, the
Mr.
Simrad, and the WH
Sorry, I missed
autopilot.
I missed the third crew person. Say again.
The Simrad autopilot and the
Oh,
WH
yes.
autopilot.
Yeah.
The last two being the most important,
Yeah.
obviously.
Simon, we have done so many miles together. We sailed around the world. We have done like, I don't know, 20,000 miles on or more. 30,000 miles on Thor. It's really hard for crew to fit in with us because we are so set in our ways. So it's you probably understand.
I have a story to tell you there. Sally's murmuring in the background because we said farewell to our crew that came across with the Pacific, and we decided that actually 4 months on the boat together was actually rather too much. So
Yeah. No matter how wonderful the people are, it's hard to find people to spend that much time with, and it's hard to find people who can take off that much time from work or from their families.
Yes.
I guess what you have to appreciate is you actually, when we've had our boat for 20 years, and it's as much our home afloat as our home on land. The kind of amount of invasion of your personal space when people come and take over the galley and take over everything is kind of weird, really. You wouldn't march into somebody's house and help yourself to anything that was in the freezer or whatever. But that appears to be the expectation. Anyway, I won't go on about crew. I think you're very sensible to go double-handed.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
It's wonderful to have people visit for a week or two, though. That's always lovely, particularly if you're in a spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you continue where we left off. So I think you said 16 mil plate you've got on your boat. That must make Thor quite a heavy boat.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh no, not really. It's aluminum, right? It's aluminum. It's not steel.
Yeah.
So she is in standard sailing. She is 36 tons for a 20-meter boat. That's quite appropriate. And of course, now with all the supplies on board, and we are to the brim with diesel, and I have like probably 500 pounds of engine and spare parts on board. We are a little overweight, but that's just to be expected on a voyage like we are doing now.
So how much fuel do you carry? I'm guessing a couple of thousand liters, or
to go in miles, we have approximately 2,000 miles motoring range.
Okay.
So sort of 1,000 gallons.
Approximately 1,000 gallons, yeah.
Okay, so that's the US gallons. That's 4,000 liters.
Yeah, approximately, yeah.
4 tons of fuel. Wow.
Yeah. That's another advantage of these strong gull boats. Basically, the entire cab up to the cabin sole, in the main cabin, it's tanks, right next both sides of the. So it's we don't want to just talk about Thor. But it's a very well designed vessel.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
We were talking about crew, weren't we? And your decision to go 2 up, and I guess for you, I mean, potentially you could have to overwinter with your crew, couldn't you? If you Melissa's shaking her head.
No.
I'm sure if I could import a few orchids for Melissa, she would put up with that. But more than 6 months without her flowers is impossible, Simon.
And don't flowers flourish in the Northwest Passage, even if you have got heating in your pilot?
Oh, I didn't know that.
You're not planning to lay up in Cambridge Bay. You're going to go right the way through and keep on going south, are you? To what are your plans?
The vessel will stay in Homer for the winter, and we want to keep Thor for a couple of years in Alaska. We've been in Alaska before for several years, and we just absolutely love the Alaskan cruising ground. We love the Alaskan people, so we will just basically just keep the boat up there and inside Passage or whatever, Haida just enjoy it up there.
Great, fantastic, a great adventure. So when did you? I mean, last time we saw you, you were in Miami, which was kind of a million miles away from the from.
That's correct.
When did Thor leave Florida waters?
Oh, we left a couple years ago. We had intended to actually try to go for the passage last summer, but we got quite a late start. And so we ended up cruising the Atlantic coast, spending time in the Maritimes, which were absolutely delightful. It was great to take the time to do that. Wish we had made it up to southern Newfoundland, because turns out that that's an even better cruising ground than we had imagined. But we left the boat in Connecticut for the winter and figured this year was the year to try to go through.
For sure, yeah.
So when do you anticipate crossing over to? I presume you're heading up to Nuuk next. Is that your next stop? Or
correct? That will happen within the next couple of days. We're just waiting for a good weather window, and there are actually a couple of good windows coming up. But the previous weeks were rather on the very, very windy side, but it seems to be settling a little bit. So it looks good for one day next week.
Great, super.
Yeah.
I see Tom has joined us, so I want to welcome Tom Sperry. Thank you very much for dialing in. I hope you had no difficulty getting in, Tom. I know Randall is struggling, and Gert and Melissa struggle too for reasons I'm not quite understand.
I got straight on, thank you.
Oh, well done. There's somebody else in difficulties as well, by the looks of things. But welcome, Tom. You are where are you at the moment? Are you in Halifax at the moment? Is that right?
No, I'm in Nuuk.
Oh, right. Okay, you were in Halifax last time we chatted, so you've been busy.
That's it. Yeah.
You found your window.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we were chatting with Gert and Melissa. Have you met them? Do you know them? Or
no?
Oh, right.
No, and hello.
Hi, how are we doing?
Good to meet you.
So we were just chatting about Gert and Melissa.
Well, Simon is dealing with that. We were just curious how your passage was. Did you run into a lot of ice when you left Cartwright?
Yes, the Cartwright side was really quite icy for, I would say, 50 miles out. But after that, it clears until you're very close to the Greenland coastline.
Really? How wonderful. We were looking at the ice reports at the time, and we were wondering whether you'd see a lot of little bergy bits out there.
No, mostly bergs, and because we did have quite a bit of fog, we could spot these on the radar. We've tried to predict whether the bergy bits follow the bergs or go in front of them, as it were. Depending on which way the wind and tide are going. But we've actually found that difficult. But they do certainly go in a trail of their own. So if you can identify 2 or 3 and you know there's a trail, then they'll all be in that vector.
Well, neat. Well, yeah. One vessel was telling us when we were down in Halifax, we should look at our temperature gauge too, because as you approach the icebergs, you can actually see the temperature go down. Did you experience that?
I certainly saw the temperature changing quite a bit, but again, difficult to say whether it's proximity to bergs or just change happening.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Randall.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt a second. So Randall has managed to join us. I've just sent a separate invite to George, so hopefully he will join us. I'm not sure about Adriano. He said he was going to sign in, but haven't heard from him. But great to have 4 people actively heading north in their various different directions. So I've been chatting for a while with Gert and Melissa, so we've got some good footage of them that we'll try and splice together to make a wee film. Randall, can I just ask you if your audio is working, just so that we can?
Yeah, let's. All right. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me at all?
We can hear you loud and clear. So
very good.
I'm gonna
can you hear my? We're motoring. Can you? Is the engine noise overwhelming or manageable?
No,
it's
fine.
fine.
Wow.
Good. It's all good.
Most excellent.
You,
you, sir, are definitely not in the Arctic. You're tan. You're somewhat.
Yeah,
you're in a t-shirt. I mean, you must be somewhere else.
And you flag the flag.
Yeah, right. Very good. Very good.
So I'm going to go over to Tom first of all. So what I've done is a wee introduction to their boats and their plans in broad terms for Melissa, which I'll splice together into a slightly coherent video. So we'll take it one at a time if possible, and then we'll do a bit of groupy stuff afterwards. Hopefully, when the other two have joined, if they're able to. So, Tom, you're in Nuuk, Greenland. You've just arrived from St. John's. You were telling the others a few moments ago about the ice conditions. Just can you recap on that briefly, just to tell us what the demonstration?
Yeah, we didn't actually go via St. John's. We came from Halifax up the Belle Isle Channel and cruised the coast of Labrador, which is well, as you know, because you've done some really, really lovely. Enjoyed that more than I expected. And we set out basically from Cartwright, and crossed over quite a few bergs on the Cartwright side for about 50 miles out. Then a fairly empty spot, and then as we got in fairly close actually towards Greenland, we started encountering bergs again. Quite a lot of fog. We could pick the bergs up fairly easily on the radar, which was good. And we weren't troubled by bergy bits. We did have one narrow escape with one about the size of a motorbike. They're sometimes difficult to see against the whitecaps. If the wind's coming towards you, a berg and a whitecap or a bergy bit and a whitecap can look quite similar.
You can't dodge all of those whitecaps, can you?
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm glad you enjoyed Labrador. We didn't enjoy the mosquitoes there. How did you get on with those this year?
We didn't encounter any. Not at all. None of them.
I think it's a very short season. They have to get their blood when they see the opportunity, don't they?
Evidently, yeah. No, we just thought the whole place was glorious.
So, Tom, I think you're one of these lucky chaps that has got a Garcia Exploration 45. Is that right?
I do. That's right. Yes. I think there's at least 3 of us on this time round. Yeah, it's a nice boat. I've had it 2 years, just about now. I bought it off an Australian chap in France. It's got lots of benefits. It's French, so it has some eccentricities, but hey, it's a good boat. I like it. Lifting keel, chain all dumps at the foot of the mast. My two favourite features, really.
Yeah. And are you sailing single-handed? Have you got a dozen crew? How's it working for you?
I've come up with friends. So I overwintered in Maryland. Deal. Right. And I've made the trip up here with 2 sets of friends so far. So Deal to Boston, and then Boston up to Nuuk. We have a crew changeover this weekend, and I have coming out possibly my brother. He's trying to get his visa sorted still, and a guy called Chris Tibbs, who you may know.
Yes, the weather guy. Is that right?
That's it. Yep.
Super, great. I see George has joined us, which is super. So Tom, you're already in Nuuk, so presumably your plan over the next few weeks is to work your way further up north to Disco Bay and beyond, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's right. We're looking forward to cruising up the Greenland coast. We haven't actually seen much of it. As we closed, the fog was quite heavy. So we were 2 miles out really before we saw anything of the coast proper. So we're looking forward to the next couple of weeks, really.
I think the term is normal for Nuuk, isn't it right?
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, great. I'm very envious of that. Spent plenty of time in Disco Bay. We really enjoyed our time there.
Yeah, right.
Super, Tom. I'm going to move over to Randall, because rumor has it he's not single-handling at the moment. So somebody else must be driving the boat at the moment. Is that right? Is that right?
Somebody else is minding the autopilot. Yes, correct. Yes, I have a friend of mine aboard, Harmon Schrag, a guy I met in San Francisco a couple of years ago. We were both skippers for the Farallon Patrol, which is a private fleet of people that take boats, biologists from San Francisco out to the Farallon Islands, about 20 miles offshore. Biologists are interested in birds, not in boats, and he was a skipper among those. So
can I just interrupt him? Can I just interrupt a moment, Randall? Your microphone is kind of, it's okay, but it's
the beard, I guess.
Okay.
Is that any better there?
It's a truly Northwest Passage beard. It looks like you. The microphone
I've had all winter.
The beard was doing a good job of mixing the microphone. So can you just repeat that?
Is that any better? Does that sound better?
Yeah, talk away.
Okay.
So tell us.
I met Harmon, my crewmate, a couple of years ago now. He and I were skippers on the Farallon Patrol. About 20 miles offshore San Francisco are a couple of rocks called the Farallons, where pinnipeds and birds roost, and biologists go to study them. Biologists are not famously boat people for a number of reasons, and so they've hired a private fleet of San Francisco yachties to take them out, take their gear, and bring them back. And it's been going on since the 70s. I've always wanted to join, but as you all know, I've kind of been other places over the last number of years. So having been home for COVID, I got to be involved in that. Anyway, met Harmon there, realized that he had a very keen interest to sail around the Americas in a direction that I had not yet done. So we've teamed up to sail around the Americas starting this year through the Northwest Passage, west to east, and we'll winter in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then pick it up next year heading south toward Cape Horn the wrong way, and then back home. So we sailed up to Homer, Alaska last fall, and I overwintered the boat there. Came up about a month ago to recommission her, and we just departed yesterday, literally. Made it across the Barrens, and now we're headed into Kodiak.
So just for the sake of people who don't know you quite so well, so this is your first clockwise circumnavigation of the Americas, whereas you've only been anti-clockwise before. Is
That's
that right?
correct. Yes, I've had the privilege of the Northwest Passage twice from the other direction, but never from this side. So we shall see. I recall very well what Bob is experiencing going up the coast in the fog and such as that. And so far, no fog on this side, but a lot of wind. So we'll see what it's like.
Yeah, when I was chatting with Victor the other day, he was saying that one of what people are finding with the warming in the Arctic is that there being generally less sea ice around, that the winds are having a more impact on the sea state than in previous years. So that's stronger winds are getting undampened seas, or they're not being dampened by the ice in the way they used to. So a kind of new enemy for Northwest Passages that perhaps wasn't so there.
Unique, isn't it? Yeah, I've got the same thing from him, I guess. So the first couple of times I've been through, we had a lot of no wind, probably motored 90% of the time, both times, and experienced, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 gales. But I guess last year, the folks that went through had 6 or 8 gales along the way. So it seems like the wind is much more of a factor, or maybe much more of a factor going forward than it has been in the past.
Interesting time. So I'm just going through everybody and asking them a bit about their boat, and your boat really needs a little introduction, but there will be those people that haven't heard of it. But tell me about Moli. Tell me about Moli.
Moli is a 45.
Young suffering OCC boat, I think, is the best description.
Yeah, right. I like to think that she's got more miles on her from private sailors, it's not a charter boat, than probably many other boats afloat. She's been going since 1989. Moli was built in Germany, in Norderney, in 1989 for a German guy who wanted to sail around the Americas, the other way, Germany through the Northwest Passage, around Cape Horn back to Germany. That was Clark Stede. And he accomplished that with, I think it was his girlfriend at the time. Got ashore in about 1993, put the boat immediately on the market, never sailed again, as far as I can tell. he'd had his fill. Boat was then purchased by Tony Gooch, who was a long-time member of the OCC, and I think sailed everywhere where there is water that is wet. He seems to have done pretty much everything. And then after a number of years, I think maybe as many as 16 or 18. Sorry?
And frozen water as well. He spent some time down
Yeah, right. For sure. He sold the boat to a couple who were going through the Northwest Passage in 2014, and so was I, on another boat I was crewing, and happened to meet the boat in Arctic Bay, and fell in love with it.
This is the Bainbridges.
The Bainbridges, yes. Glenn and Anne Bainbridge. I met it in Arctic Bay and offered to buy the boat right then because it was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was looking for a boat for the figure eight voyage. They were kind enough to like that. Very nice little man. Yeah, that's okay. We'll keep our boat. They did a Northwest Passage from east to west over 2 years. They overwintered in Cambridge Bay, and then when they got to Homer, decided that they'd seen what they wanted to see and put the boat on the hard at Northern Enterprises and gave me a call, and I was able to purchase the boat then in 2016. She's a 45-foot custom aluminum sloop, headsail sloop. 3 watertight bulkheads, full keel, 200 gallons of diesel in tanks, 200 gallons of water in tanks, extraordinarily sturdy, not what you'd call fast, but she can take a beating and keep sailing. So lovely boat. I've had a couple of rounds with her and really have enjoyed my time.
So I know the Bain, well, they did their Northwest Passage. That was Northwest Passage number 2 for Moli. Tony and his wife sailed it around the world a few times, and you've done some pretty extraordinary voyages in her as well, Randall, haven't you? So just recap on those. And I know this is your 2nd time through the Northwest Passage on Moli. Is that right?
On Moli, that's correct. That's correct. So I bought Moli in 2006. Go ahead.
The first one was on somebody else's boat when you bought Moli or clinched the deal on Moli.
That's correct.
And then you
I was going through the Northwest Passage by way of practice because I just couldn't wrap my brain around it from a computer screen at the house. I'd done some blue water sailing before that, but the Arctic is a different animal, and shallow, not well charted, and then ice, and I just couldn't figure it out. So I decided to crew on a vessel going through from the other direction, named Arctic Turn. Yeah, so that's when I met the Bainbridges. So I was looking for a, yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, Randall. You triggered a memory. We met Arctic Tern in the Caledonian Canal.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yes. Were Les and Allie were the owners then, or?
No, they were. It was the no. I think they sold it. The people that were on the boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them since that cruise. It was a good cruise. Difficult year.
Sorry,
in any case, not to worry.
Continue your story.
In any case, I bought this boat particularly for this little jaunt around the world I called the Figure Eight Voyage, which was an attempt to sail from my home in San Francisco down to Cape Horn, like a hard left turn, sail all the way around Antarctica, under Cape Horn the 2nd time, up through the Atlantic, into Davis Strait and Baffin Bay, across the top of the Americas, the Arctic's Northwest Passage, and back down to San Francisco, all in 1 year, 1 continuous season, and solo. So that was the Figure Eight Voyage. A rather tall order for a guy who hadn't sailed out of middle latitudes at that point. And that was evidenced by my first attempt, which didn't go so well. I got thrown down really hard off Cape Horn, had to stop, then got thrown down really hard off Hobart, had to stop. So I sailed home from Hobart, tried again the next year. It was a challenging, fun run, but it took a little bit of practice.
For the benefit of people watching this who don't know the story, Randall did a great OCC webinar for us for lockdown, the COVID lockdown, telling the story of the Figure of Eight voyage, and a very great account that was too. Randall, just for my benefit, the rest of you, so you will be 2 up for the whole of the Northwest Passage this time round, is that right?
2 of us, yes. Harmon and I will be. Did you say 2 up? I like that. 2 up. Yes, we'll be 2 up for the Northwest Passage and for the rest of the trip too. This is a duo circle of the Americas.
Wonderful. George, I'm sorry you had difficulty getting online. 2 out of 3 of people, 4 people have struggled as well, so you're not alone. I'm not sure why, but we've got you now. I'm referring to everybody by their Christian names on this this webinar. Well, it's not webinar, this videocast, if you want to call it, because I know you're keen to keep your social media profile at the minimum. So, George, you're joining us from your boat, which is Migration, which is very different to everybody else's boat, but looks sumptuously comfortable where you are at the moment. Where is Migration at the moment, George?
We're in Red Bay, Labrador.
Oh, you're in Labrador. Sorry, didn't catch the name of the.
Yes, Red Bay. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for the bass whaling. It is just across from the north tip of Newfoundland.
Yep.
And just across the strait, Belle Isle Strait, Strait of Belle Isle. We're going to depart Sunday, and we'll round the corner and head up the coast of Labrador, and then weather allowing, we'll jump across to Nuuk. We should be in Nuuk, I would say, by the 6th or 7th of July.
So,
Great.
George, so you're on Migration. Tell us a bit about Migration, because she's quite a craft, isn't she?
Migration is a 68-foot Nordhaven. It's a trawler, single screw. The concept with Nordhaven is the original concept was for a couple to be able to cross any ocean by themselves. It's single screw. We've got a 400 horsepower Scania engine, and then what's called a wing engine or a kicker, separate drive shaft, separate folding propeller as a backup, and it provides some other function as well. We've got an approximate 3,000 mile range. We've crossed the Atlantic twice in it. We've been up to Svalbard, Greenland before. We've been roughly 70,000 miles. Very, very comfortable.
Just going to interrupt slightly. Your audio is a little bit crackly. Is there all we can do to improve the sound quality, or?
He's loud and clear on my side, by the way.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Is this any better, Simon?
That sounds much better, actually. Yeah, that's
okay.
just. So yeah, you circumnavigated Spitsbergen on Migration. How long ago, George?
We did that in 2016. Yes. Yep.
And from memory, that goes up to about 80 degrees north. Is that right?
We did, and we ventured north from Spitsbergen up to just above 81 degrees into the pack ice, the sea ice.
Fantastic.
Yep.
A friend of ours, sadly now deceased, sailed her 35-foot trade wind Dunlin around Spitsbergen. Lady Denise Evans. I don't. She would have been a decade or two before you, but that was an epic voyage in a much smaller boat. Bear with me. I'm just going to admit Adriano into the meeting. He's obviously managed to join. So, sorry, George, recapping, you are currently in Labrador, you're crossing to Nuuk, and you're aiming to be there by July 7, I think. Is that
yes,
right?
Yes.
You're in Nuuk from July 7, and then you'll be making your way north up towards Disco Bay, presumably in parallel with Tom by the time.
Yes, I think so. We'll be in Nuuk for a few days. We have a crew that is going to be joining us right now. It's just my wife and I aboard. we'll work our way up to Pernavik, and that'll be our jump off point. As ice allows.
Yeah. So have other Nordhavens been through the Northwest Passage before? I know David Scott Capper has made motorboating through the Northwest Passage a regular pastime. And indeed, I think he's heading that way this summer as well, but he's not invited to this meeting because he's not an OCC member, but that's his look.
That's his loss.
Yeah, so Nordhaven's been through the Northwest Passage, or will this be a first for Nordhaven?
There has been one other. A 57 did it maybe in 2008 or 2009. I'm not sure which year. It went east to west.
East.
So
Yes.
where are you now? Are you going to west east?
Yeah, I'm going east to west. I'm in Red Bay, Labrador.
Oh, okay. You're not that far away then.
No. Are you in Nuuk?
No, we're in Concession Bay at the Royal Newfoundland Yacht Club together with Thor.
Yes. Ah, okay. All right. And you'll leave from there to head up to Greenland?
Yeah, probably Sunday morning.
Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will leave here Sunday morning to go work up our way up the Labrador coast and then across to Nuuk.
Oh, great. Okay, so we'll meet there.
Yes.
Great. It's an OCC crossing, a buddy boat crossing of the Davis Strait. How wonderful. Adriano, thank you for joining us. I can hear you loud and clear. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Very well, yes.
Welcome to the meeting. We've not met before. I've met most of the others either online or face-to-face before. So you're very welcome, and I'm very glad you've been able to sign in. And hopefully we'll be able to continue these meetings every couple of weeks as time allows, as people make their progress. Everybody is going west about, apart from Randall, who is going east about because he's just not gone in that direction before. So welcome, Adriano. Do you want to tell us a bit about you, about the boat, and what your plans are for the summer, please? That would be
Yes,
wonderful.
sure. We got I'm on the boat with one sec, my wife Marisa, she's here.
Hi.
To meet you.
And we have Sean and Kate who are joining us for the summer on the boat. We are on a Garcia Exploration 45, and they actually have their own Garcia Exploration 45, which they parked in Cherbourg to join us for the Northwest Passage. So we got our boat in July last year, so it's fairly new. And we sailed over from Normandy. We left in October and sailed over the Atlantic to Martinique and then up here. And since it's a new boat, we spent a lot of time fixing things and, preparing the boat, getting warranty stuff done. We had some issues with Volvo paint on the generator, all kind of issues that you have with new boats. But I think she's in a very good situation now, technically. And we stopped here for 10 days to kind of fuel up and buy all the provisions and load our crew, get spare parts. I think we're in quite good shape now. We're all kind of retired from the workforce, all four on the boat, and enjoy cruising full time and enjoy it a lot. I must say, we started last July and became huge fans.
Great, excellent. And I think you're one of the many OCC members that are Swiss-born. We seem to have a lot of Swiss members these days, which is kind of wonderful.
Yes. I'm Swiss and my wife's Canadian, and our crew is Canadian and Australian. So we have quite a multinational team on board. I'm Swiss and Italian citizen, but we live in Switzerland.
And what part of Switzerland are you from, Adriano?
Zurich.
So German speaking.
And I must say, Pete Goss recommended we join the OCC. I'm sure you're aware he became like a little bit a Garcia ambassador. He had one himself, and we used the OCC quite a bit. Contacted the harbor officers, and we had a extremely positive experience with the OCC. We're big fans.
That's great, excellent.
Also,
Yeah,
you go into base, and it seems that many boats use this interactive chart that the OCC has on the app, and so people look up the other OCC boys and boats and thingy over and say hello. And I mean, I think it's a very, very active and welcoming club.
Oh, I'm mighty relieved to hear that, because I was the architect of that feature.
It's brilliant.
All the
It's
right
brilliant.
things.
No, it's brilliant. I mean, here we're obviously with Ted, who is a huge help and very knowledgeable. We're also very grateful for Victor to be kind of our guardian angel through this Northwest Passage. No, it's great. It's great.
That's super. Thank you very much, Adriano. And so Garcia Exploration 45s, they're kind of becoming to a penny, although I think they cost more than that. But everybody the Garcia 45 these days. So Tom shares the same boat with you, well, the same boat build. How many are there in existence now? They started off with Jimmy Cornell, so presumably that was number 1.
Yeah, we have hull number 38, and I think they're probably in about 44.
Yeah, I recently saw that 45 was commissioned.
All right, okay. So in that bracket. Oh yeah, that looks familiar in your background.
Yeah.
Maybe you can hear me something. Okay. Actually, this.
Yes, go ahead, Victor.
Yeah. Actually, this year the Northwest Passage, 5 Garcias will be undertaking the crossing.
Wow.
So as many Garcias crossing the Northwest Passage as there are OCC members crossing the Northwest Passage.
Oh, that's insane. Oh, that's great.
Just about.
That's
great, fantastic. So, I think you said you're Newfoundland. So your plans going north from St. John's, are you taking the same windows, the same window as Thor, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're about 100 meters away from each other, and we talk daily. So I think so. Maybe one day apart or so.
Great, super. And just for the uninitiated, when should people be starting to arrive in Lancaster Sound to get through the trickier sections of the Northwest Passage, Victor? When does that window usually start to open?
Well, let's put it this way: it's basically very beginning of August. Okay, but everything depends on the Central Arctic, and namely Larsen Sound. Okay, it's actually west of Bellot, going west, and it's east of Queen Maud, which actually boundaries also Victoria Strait. Okay, and the high Arctic ice upon the breaking actually heads east with the currents, and most of it actually flows right into the Larsen Sound. And that's where the ice congestion happens, and many things and many battles that the sailors can encounter. Okay, so all the eyes actually should look at what is happening at Larsen, and that actually it points into the date of start, because once you hit the Northwest Passage in Lancaster Sound or Pond Inlet heading west, you have maybe a week or less just to sail to Bellot or to Peel. Okay, providing the conditions are good. And they share actually Lancaster Sound shows very little ice, except for the western part, okay, towards the Resolute. And Resolute, fairly often, it's not accessible, okay? So that's what it is, okay? Now, for those heading east, consequently, they have more leisure. They can, they can wait up at Cambridge Bay or at Joe Haven, okay, before anything opens, okay. And obviously, any day of delay, it's not very pleasant, okay. And they and that's so let's put it this way: around 5th, 10th of August, heading west, but rather, well, there are places of about 15th or even 20th of August, okay, which are very, very late type of thing, okay. So that's a rough schedule.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful. And I think we've probably, I don't know what time it is. It's 3:10. Yeah. So we'll just chat for another few minutes. But if we could make it more of a group chat now, that would be good. So Gert and Melissa, you've been pretty silent for a while. Do you want to ask any of your fellow transitors any questions? Say hi or whatever. So please go ahead, Gert and Melissa, first of all.
Well, I do actually have one very important question for Randall. Randall, did you remember to take the champagne on board for our halfway crossing?
Good question.
Well, we had it on board, but it's such a long passage, and we needed some fortification early. So I'm not sure. We'll have to pick something up in Alaska before we hit the dry towns in Canada.
Well,
yes,
I
of
did.
course, I have it on board.
Oh, good. Well, I have got a cake in the freezer for us, so we will have a wonderful mix with cake with champagne.
Very good. I'm looking forward to it. The question is, where will you be waiting for us?
Well, we will meet somewhere in the middle. It really, who knows, right? Okay. Yes, but we will make sure it happens. As most people probably know, Randall and us, we are friends for a long, long time, and met up many times and had a lot of long distance calls. So it's we are looking forward to having our midway party, whatever we call it.
Maybe I'll just add to it. Typically, a lot of boats, actually, those heading west and east, are meeting at Fort Ross in Bellot.
Okay.
A lot of boats. Okay, and that's amazing. It's not really halfway point. For the traveled miles. Okay, but it's really that point where the ice from one end allows to enter the place from another end, because Regent Inlet also presents many years a lot of heavy ice. So that's what I have to add.
So a request from me for you both, Randall and Gert and Melissa. So we want to be invited to that party as well. So
and why don't we have Victor being our flight coordinator, and he will just coordinate our meeting?
That's what I do. That's what I do every day.
Hey, Victor. Hey, Victor, how are things looking for my approach? I seem to be the only guy going the other way. How's it looking? How's it looking so far this year?
Okay. Oh, many thanks for your new tracking. Okay, I just received your email today.
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So at least I know where you are.
Yep.
Because all the gardening, it dates way back 2014, 2015 type of thing.
That's right. That's right.
So anyways, so that's I'm just adding my 5 pennies, okay, to all the comments, just to straighten out or made it more clear. Okay, so let's keep on chatting in between.
Yeah, we'll do. Sounds good.
I'm going to switch across to Tom. Tom, you've been very quiet for a bit. Sorry about that, but do you want to chat with the other guys, ask them any questions, or for those that have joined, I think subsequently, Tom Sperry is on his boat, another Garcia 45, currently in Nuuk. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. So crew change for us here. Is there anything I want to ask? We've actually been parked next to a guy in a large steel boat called Tiama. That's Henk and Bunny. They're ex-Greenpeace people, so they're very, very interesting. In fact, they were on the Rainbow Warrior when the French got them. So we were partying with them until 4 o'clock this morning. So if I sound a bit slow, that's why, and I'm sorry. But yeah, they've been through. This is his third time through, so we've picked their brains extensively. And I should say, you know, first of all, probably from all of us, many thanks to Victor, because he's given me lots of useful information already. And also, secondly, Simon, I've got to say your contribution to Arctic and Northern Waters, every page I open, there's either a photograph or a note from Simon Curran. So thanks for that.
As spiritual hosts of the Arctic, I have no idea what we're doing in Polynesia, but it is quite nice.
By comparison, yeah, I'm sure it is. We had a big gale blow through here overnight and yesterday, 40 knots. Fortunately, we were tucked up here in the harbour, so we've been very lucky. And I know that there is another Garcia Exploration 45 currently, I think, in Palmiut, and they were talking about setting off this morning, but given the size of the seas this morning, he may have thought again.
Yeah, let's let things settle down. So yeah, I mean, your job, guys, is to recruit loads of OCC members so they can all join this chat as they go through the Northwest.
So Tom,
and it's all pretty novel. Melissa's got her hand up.
Hey, Tom, just say hi to Hank and Bunny for us.
Oh, I know them. Yeah, sure, I will do. Yep.
And to the OCC so they can join in. Sorry, I shouldn't keep saying that.
No, I'll mention. I have mentioned it already, but I'll mention it again.
So yeah, it's great being able to do this by Starlink. We've certainly never done anything like this before. So the biggest struggle, of course, is the time zones, and I do apologise for the time of night. It must be in Nuuk at the moment, Tom. It looks like it's still daylight there, fortunately, but that's probably more of a function of your latitude rather than the.
It is. Yeah. It's midnight right now, so yeah.
Really sorry about that. It will get better as you get west. Not so handy for Randall as he comes east, I'm afraid. Perfect. George, do you want to say anything more? Ask any questions directly to any of the others, or it would be wonderful if you do. Come in, please.
Yes, I'm looking forward to meeting as many of you as I can. I think that the fact that we've attempted this now in the days of Starlink is quite amazing. Everything that I've read, we have a pretty active owners group for our Nordhavens, and the equipment just seems to be bulletproof. So I think we should have good connectivity. The people that I've spoken with who have used it going across have had fantastic reliability. So it just has I think it has made this, or will make this, a far safer endeavor. I find that very interesting.
I can certainly vouch for that, George. We've been using Starlink now for 2 years since it became available, and coming across the Pacific this year, there was a rescue completely coordinated by Starlink and WhatsApp, where the guys taken off within, as the boat sank. So they'd stepped into their life raft when the Starlink coordinated, WhatsApp coordinated boat, which also happened to be Swedish, rendezvoused with them and filmed the sinking as they stepped from life raft onto the rescue boat. So amazing.
It is. It's a real game changer for us.
It is. It's fantastic. Yeah. So thank you for joining, Adriano and your crew. It'd be nice to hear from your crew if possible. I can see your wife, whose name I confess I've already forgotten. Please give us your name again.
Marita Lancaster, as the sound.
Ah, very good. And you're from Canada, I think, Maritza. Is that right? Whereabouts are you from?
Well, it's complicated. I mean, I've been living in Switzerland. I have a Canadian passport, but I've only lived there for a few years, a couple of years.
So more Swiss than Canadian, but you have the
Yes,
utility,
yes, definitely.
which we're all very envious
Lots of Swiss chocolate on board. So.
Oh, fantastic! And it doesn't there either, which is even better. Look, guys, I think everybody's had a good airing for tonight. Is everybody happy? Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down to link up in a couple of weeks' time at around this time of day. Does that suit?
Super
Oh
cool.
yeah, definitely.
Super
definitely.
cool. I guess we will all be much closer together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh,
won't.
maybe I'll just add a little bit. Okay, yeah. It actually comes to the very first question that was asked me about when the entry to Northwest Passage this year will happen. Okay, yeah. So Canadian Ice Service issues seasonal outlook for the summer, and that was already issued at the beginning of June. And I sent out to all the interested parties that outlook, the copy of it, and but it's still somehow too early in the season, to say, okay, it will be this way or that way. Okay? In addition to that, Canadian Ice Service also issues so-called 30-day outlook, which is basically valid for 30 days, but it's issued every 15 days. Beginning of months, mid of months, and end of months. And the most promising outlook actually happens mid of July, okay, which gives actually more true picture what we can expect. Okay, so I would expect when we will meet about mid of July, okay, we will have a lot of talk. Okay, so let's get ready for that. It will be actually a month, well, 4 weeks from now, right? If I'm not mistaken, something like that. Okay, so that's what I wanted just to add.
Sorry, the question there was about the update is due in July, and they're saying that it's going to be good from middle of July. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yeah,
Victor?
Yeah. Every 15 days is issued till about mid of October, actually. Okay, yeah. But when everything is frozen.
So it's issued on the 15th.
I think the 1st of July and the 15th of July, Gert, if I understood correctly.
Yeah.
So we should probably talk on the 16th or 17th.
Yeah, okay. Let me just firm up a date that I know we've got a flight coming up around then, but we'll firm up a date that we can definitely make, and aim to connect in about 14 days. Looks like Adriano's just dropped his iPhone. Or he's
back. maybe due to the single malt.
Oh, the Swiss chocolate. Better on.
To you all.
Adriano, just remind me the name of your boat. Is it Voyager? Is it? If I
Voyager,
right?
Yes, that's correct.
So just running through the boat names, we've got George on Migration, we've got Gert and Melissa on Thor, we've got Adriano on Voyager, we've got Tom on Night Owl. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
Yep. You've got yes, okay.
That's Rick's boat, right?
That was Snow Gum.
That's with snow gum. That's right. Yeah.
Ah, okay, good.
Right. Oh, great. Okay.
And we've got Randall on Moli and Victor, of course, desk bound in Toronto. Is that right, Victor? That's where you're at the moment.
Oh,
Victor, you're in Toronto. Is that correct?
Yes, obviously.
Yeah. Super. So I'm going to wind up for now. I'm going to spend a bit of time editing this to try and make it reasonably coherent and watchable. I've deliberately kept everybody reduced to first names, but we have mentioned boat names to protect people's privacy. But if it's okay with everybody, and I'd just like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I don't think there's anything too controversial that's come up in this, but if it's okay with everybody, I'd like to post that on the OCC News Feeds, hopefully later on today, early tomorrow. Is everybody happy with that?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Sure.
Everybody, is anybody unhappy about that? We're good. Excellent. So I'll do some editing just to make sure it's not too rambly and too full of me. So thank you very much for joining in. Looking forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks' time. I'll try and fix a firm date that we can definitely do the hosting bit of it. I've got a feeling the 17th might be an issue for us, or the 17th of July. So it might be a bit before that 15th or a bit afterwards. But great to meet everybody online. And thank you for being members of the OCC. And thank you for going to the far-flung regions of the world and to start spinning your fantastic stories, which we look forward to following. Thank you very much.
Oh, cheers to all of you.
Thanks for putting all this together.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this.
yes.